Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup, and we're at the last video of the roundup. So let's get started. Kicking these off, we've got Detective Comics number 1065, continuing Gotham Nocturne. Where we left off, Batman had fallen for a trap set for him by Talia, and while dealing with that, the Orgum family arrived at Gotham Harbor and were attacked by members of the League of Assassins. And it turned, you picked up at that point. The members of the League members have blockaded the harbor to prevent further law enforcement reinforcements from arriving. But among the members of the League there present is Ubu, who strapped a bomb to his chest. But and members of one of the members of the Orgum family notes that Batman is late. Batman arrives. Fights off Ubu and disarms him, leading to Ubu charging him and pushing him into Gotham Harbor. Batman shocks Ubu, but is unable to pull himself up, but ends up going unconscious as well, though it does appear he's been pulled under by a demon rather than... However, he's pulled out of the water by Jim Gordon, who is there with his new partner, as it were. But the two of them get Bruce back to Gordon's office. Elsewhere, the Orgums are meeting with the executor of the Arkham Trust. They brought him a number. It's explained that they're not, and though man says Arkham's not for sale. However, it's explained they're not proposing to buy it. First off, the land that they have a deed says it's theirs, and the amount that's being offered is the potential settlement of, the legality, or not legality, but the the veracity of the deed to the land, and they tripled the number. Basically, they're paying the man who runs the trust to go away. Elsewhere, Ubu knocks on a door in Gotham. And Two-Face's people are allowed to hide. However, Two-Face has betrayed. There's a bit of a betrayal, and Gael of the Orgums ends up attacking and seemingly killing Ubu. At the offices of Bullock and Gordon, lights are turned off because Gordon does. While he has an idea as who Batman is under the mask, he doesn't want to know for certain. And he bandages up Bruce's wounds, and having already masks his face. That's where our A story is. The B story focuses on Harley. He kind of his the prologue for Harvey Dent, Two-Face, leading up to the Gotham for this particular story. Which for Gotham Nocturne, yes. He's definitely having his share of issues, as it were. Seeing various visions. Including that of a skinless demon. And eventually ridding himself and kind of just accepting his fate, as it were. And that is where the issue ends. Gotham Nocturne is definitely one of the more interesting Batman stories we've had in a while. While I am enjoying Failsafe, it's more standard fare Batman, and so this is, like I said, it's nothing different, even though it has a lot of the familiar faces. Moving on to our next book, we've got Harley Quinn number 23. Where we left off, Harley had been killed. So Kevin took her to the League of Assassins, and she went into a Lazarus pit in the hopes that she would be resurrected so she could potentially find the person who killed her. Seemingly, the pit worked. So we begin with Harley Quinn's funeral. Apparently Harley has started a cult. Or a cult has formed around her. And everyone is saying all manner of nice things about her, and she explains that if she had known that people were going to say such nice things about her, she would have died a long time ago. Kevin shows up, however, and wants to talk to Harley. Apparently Harley told the pizza delivery guy, and, well, word got around. But, Kevin kind of says, hey, someone shot you. Someone tried to kill you. Someone did kill you. Maybe you should, lay low for a while. Maybe you should actually lay low, which means not having a whole bunch of Harley worshipping cultists at the ferry. But they're interrupted by the appearance of the arrival of Robin, who is not too happy about the fact that that Harley used the Lazarus pit. And but they duke it out a bit. However, after a brief fight between the two, Harley does manage to get the better of Damien, pulls him back on the ferry, and they talk things out, and in part, Robin simply says, "Hey, if you feel like something's wrong, let me know. If something changes, she doesn't feel right, or that's what she's telling him, but tell someone." However, someone has, the same person who killed Harley, has found out of Harley's resurrection. and tortured one of her one of her cultists for information. He doesn't know how she came back, and so the cultist is killed. But the issue ends with Harley deciding that if Gotham really wants to hold her so much, well, you may as well give the people what they want, right? A fun issue. I'm just very curious to see who the hooded figure is. I'm digging the story overall. I've honestly really enjoyed this run on Harley. So, moving on to our next book, though, we've got Punchline, the Gotham game, #1. So, Punchline is, I don't want to necessarily say the new Harley. She's not. She fits a similar role character-wise as Harley, though she's a entirely different, a very different character. She knows you can't, from the way she acts, you can't really blame her actions on psychoses. She seems to know exactly what she's doing and doesn't care. But the issue begins, the series, I should say, begins with her being acquitted of all charges. That night, at the Bowery, an influencer has gone down to check out a show that's happening under one of the bridges. But it's kind of lame. So he's headed out and runs into some clowns who are on EXO, and they beat on him a bit. When Punchline shows up and saves the guy. Of course, she also does cut his face. It seems like he takes one of his eyes. She takes him, though, and says that they're going to generate some content. A couple of days later, Punchline arrives at the home of a couple. That couple is revealed to be none other than King and Queen. What appears to be the heart suit of the Royal Flush Gang. But Punchline's got a plan. The plan is between the many members of the Royal Flush Gang she encountered in Blackgate, plus countless number of cells and chapters across the country, the Royal Flush Gang has enough leverage to cause some serious damage to Gotham City. And they're going to be and the influencer, well, they're going to test a mothball design from LexCorp's nanotechnology department. Augmented combat endoskeleton. ACEs. But so it turns out that her big she has designed a drug out of common household chemicals, and it sells everywhere. Anyone with $10, you know what it is. It's called EXO, and yeah, it's what the clowns were using in the beginning of the issue. At the moment, she's got her Royal Flush Gang recruits basically filling envelopes of the stuff. But she has a plan, moving on to a processing center in Alleytown, which is pretty much just under the hand of Aiko Hasegawa. However, it is brought up. King brings up the Bat story, or the Bat. Though Punchline says that they're not even on Batman's radar. However, it turns out that one of the attendees at the punk show that the influencer was at the beginning of the issue, it was in fact Bruce Wayne undercover. And he saw the end of his live stream. That is where the issue ends. Interesting premise. I haven't read much with Punchline. Her big debut was in Joker War. I haven't read Joker War. Then she had a follow up or she was the star of the backup story in James Tynion IV's Joker series last year, which I didn't read either. So I've seen a few appearances of hers. I read the one shot with her, but yeah, interesting, very interesting. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got Tim Drake Robin #2. Nice little homage to the first appearance of Robin, cover-wise. So where we left off, Robin was on his own, living on the docks, and there were troubles, though. But him and Bernard he's trying to convince Bernard to leave town for a few days, just for his safety. But Bernard ain't having it. However, Robin has been accused of stealing the baseball diamond. Tim goes to talk with his contact from the GCPD. Passes along what he picked up evidence-wise at the scene. But he once again tells Bernard, tries to convince Bernard to leave. But some of his neighbors show up, and apparently their city council member is trying to evict everyone from the docks. But Tim reflects on the various things that have happened since the first issue. The mysterious gift he received was a deersucker cap, same kind that Sherlock Holmes wears. But and there were some books that he's looking into, as well as who possibly checked them out. However, the librarian that was helping him, well, she screams, and Robin and Sparrow find her dead. Clues are found, and the police show up at just the wrong moment. But he tries to, save his innocence. So it's not any legal proceedings, but the however, Robin's starting to realize that the killer he's after is emulating detective stories, and Robin now knows which one they're in. But Robin leaves a clue for his opponent is for his opponent, and from his would-be opponent, however, and well, it's just a kid hired to We've learned that his opponent is basically making additional Robins, which he sends in mass to go after Tim, and that is where the issue ends. I'm enjoying the Robin series so far. Fun stuff. Definitely recommend. Moving on to our next book, we've got something a bit, well, I wouldn't go as far as unexpected because previews are a thing, but still kind of. The Riddler, Year 1. This is, folks, kind of telling some backstory on Edward Nashton from The Batman. Written by Paul Dano, who played the Riddler in, in The Batman. So it's basically him going, the thankless job that he has. Shitty boss. Thoughts of ending it by jumping in front of the subway. Thoughts of inadequacy and various other things. But the case he's looking into, well, he's discovered something interesting about the, what was it called? The Restoration Fund. Two payments to specific groups every month that when go to a specific place every month, total out to $10,000. Later, Edward sees the Batman in action. Talks about it a bit on his live stream. The information is taken to the information about the payments is given to he gives it to his supervisor, who runs the flagpole and just says, "Hey, yeah, told my boss about it. Says nothing, but good job finding. Good job." I'm going to bring it to his attention. Edward then follows his boss to a diner. Looks to be the same diner that he captured in the Batman, to talk about what he found, and well, he's basically told, don't ever do this again. But we see Edwards do a bit of self-harm, sticking his hand into a bowl of soup, just cooked soup, no less. Or at least he contemplates it. Sits in on a trial, and on the sentencing of a trial, someone being acquitted, and listens to what was being said, and looks into New Beginnings Animal Rescue. But the person from the trial is said to be not in. Except that he is, and well, yeah, it's kind of made clear that there's not a... the New Beginnings Animal Rescue is very much not on the level. While running from the scene, he ends up by the iceberg, where he sees his boss and his boss's boss talking to one of the entertainers from Cobblepot's establishment, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting setup so far. Throughout, you really kind of do get a lot of just the various degree of what Nash is dealing with. And the first issue's very strong. It's the Riddler from the Batman was a very different type of Riddler than we've seen, so, and this version fits with that. And I like. It was an interesting take, and I actually kind of liked it. It was different, you know. Moving on to our last book for the week, we've got Catwoman, Lonely City, number 4. Finally, where we left off, Catwoman and what remained of her crew were breaking into Batcave. The ones breaking in with her would be Poison Ivy and Etrigan. We get a flashback to Fool's Night. Apparently, Joker gave Batman a choice. Turn on the bat signal. All of Joker's fools down the street will stop, but so will Commissioner Gordon's heart. And Joker reveals he knows who Batman is. But Etrigan, in the present, Etrigan, Selina, and Ivy make their way through the tunnel. They find a locked door, but aren't entirely sure how it will open. So it's magically enchanted. As if they run towards it, it just continues to get further and further away. So Selina suggests Etrigan say "Open Sesame." Nothing happens. However, she then suggests that Etrigan say it backwards. That works. And Zatanna is suddenly hit with a bit of an odd feeling as one of her spells has been undone. But they get to the waterfall. It gets frozen, but well, yeah. Selina though figures out she can open the gate. After all, Batman gave her the key with his dying breath. So that's when the cave opens, the bats fly free. That's a bit noticeable to the Bat Cops. But so they set up everything to copy the database. Turns out that the GCPD had piggybacked onto the Batcave system and Wayne Tech satellites for the surveillance and facial recognition and profiling and so forth. But Orpheus is found. It turns out it was a combination of a Lazarus pit and venom. It was tested out on Alfred and seemed to do the trick for a few days. But things go sideways, and Dent roars in with the Bat Cops in a tank. Etrigan kills and eats at least one of the Bat Cops, but well, Dent's got someone for that, or rather someone. Clarion, who speaks the words to turn Etrigan back into Jason Blood. And Etrigan and Jason duke it out, but there are vines growing and plants. But Jason and Clarion teleport away. Oh, Tickle as well should be added. A grenade, a fear gas grenade is tossed towards the Bat Cops, and Penguin's umbrella gun is used to detonate it. And Dent just destroy it all. Then Ivy does what she can to bring things down, and she manages to bring down the large portion of the cave on the Bat Cops. Some grenades are tossed into the Orpheus pit, and all connections to the for the GCPD are severed. Two-Face kills one of the cops. But they get everything they needed. Riddler saves Eddie, or saves Selina, and gets basically a batarang to the eye, courtesy of Selina. But Dent is imprisoned. Babs wins the mayoral election, and the ruins of Wayne Manor now have a massive red-leaf tree growing from them. Catwoman's training Riddler's daughter Edie in being a cat burglar, but the new mayor basically wants, Selina to help with taking care of with the darker aspect of working in politics. Very much if some cash goes missing from the people you might be looking into, that's not going to be a problem. Basically, she wants Catwoman to deal with the corruption. And it seems that perhaps it's left up in the air as to whether she's going to do it or not. The way the book ends, it does seem to imply that she will, though. And that is where the series ends. Took long enough for this to come out. I was honestly beginning to think maybe I missed it. But no, it just got delayed. Anyway, that is going to do it for this week. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.